But to make the long story short, this is the capacity times distance performance criteria versus the years. If we forget the previous transmission windows, we enter the tera and peta bit kilometer per second eras successively. By 2000, we were writing the peta, which is 10 peta is 1 terabit over 10,000 kilometers. So you can cross any Atlantic or Pacific Ocean. 1 terabit, like say, for instance, 10 channels at 100 gigabits. And that's pretty much what the group at Alcatel-Lucent has done with different techniques based on this principle, but other improvements over the years. That's a team led by Sébastien Bigot at Alcatel-Lucent. I'm quoting that team that makes all the records because Sébastien Bigot used to be one of my PhD students. And I think they're going to continue. There is a gap between what you see between those S-curve line and seemingly heuristic optical Moore's law. But let's forget about Moore's law and just consider that since the invention or at least the demonstration of the Corning fiber of 20 dB per kilometer by 7T, we have improved by 1 billion-fold the performance of fiber optics. And that is sufficient to absorb all the needs of fiber networks. I'll skip the description of that. This is the 3 layers of networks as it can be viewed. Let's consider the backbone. That's the big routers, IP routers that commute terabits from different sources and decide where this goes through the world. And all what is in green is fiber. Even your telephone calls go through fiber. So you can see your telephone cell now as a wireless optical fiber. That's the way, and that's true. With a short access, which means you are accessing the cell to get your phone call. But that cell is getting very small now with 3G. So it's all fiber. It's all fiber everywhere. It looks like a railway map, but it's actually the colors, the density show the traffic size. Or here the number of IP providers all the way through the land, through the ocean. I colored two interesting systems. Simiwi 3 that connects the north of Germany all the way through the Straits and the Indian and Pacific Ocean, Asia-Pacific to China, Japan. It's a 39,000 kilometers, not vertical. The longest, I think, is 5,000 kilometers somewhere here. But it has 48 wavelengths at 10 gigabits. And the channels are launched also from the cable, from the undersea cable. China-US is interesting. Each of these legs is 12,000 kilometers with zero electronic on the path of the photon. So the photon that is sent here is received there, having encountered no electron, if you say. Now, interacted with no electron, let's say, because electrons are still around, but no electronics, no repeater. And that's about the traffic map, and a recent figure that shows the world is essentially communicating between Europe, North America, and Asia, a little bit of Asia-Pacific, a little bit South America, and very sadly, very little here. And you understand very easily what this means in terms of digital divide and development and infrastructure needs. The bandwidth used is only in the vicinity of 10 to 20%. We have some reserve, but the internet is growing at a rate of 45 to 150% a year. It's very chaotic. That if you make some wide calculation with geometric series, like the chess game, you will find that in 20 years we are fried in terms of reserve capacity unless we continue putting cables and feeding the fibers with more capacity. This is the number of attoseconds you have in 1 second. Nothing really impressive. That's an exa. But an exa is also the number of cube millimeters in a cube kilometer. That's 6 more as a heap of sand. That's a giga. 50 times that is the number of bytes that are annually carried over the internet. 50 times that exa. The Library of Congress is say 1 exabyte is 50,000 Library of Congress. So we have 50 times 50,000 Library of Congress that is annually carried, and if you take that divide by number of days, that's 150 billion books every day, equivalent in traffic. The single fiber, take this example of 10 terabits over 10,000 kilometers with a DVD capacity of 40 gigabits, and that's what you have per second, 250 DVD in the fiber. With submarine cables have typically 4 to 6 or to more active fibers. So that gives you a mind-boggling idea of the traffic. And I'm going to finish on this one, which looks innocuous. This is the number of kilometer fiber that were installed last year, 163 million. Half of it is China, which doubled from 2008. With a growth of 17% per year. Okay, those are just numbers. In 2006, now let's talk about the length of fiber that has been installed already since Charles Kao's invention and the deployment with Corning fiber. 18 times the Earth's circumference equivalent. And that happens to be practically the distance to Jupiter. Now we come to cosmological arguments. Today, we have 1.5 billion kilometers. That's 35,000 the circumference. That's the distance to Saturn. By the way, it looks like Saturn already has a fiber network, right? But it's not silica glass. And in 2015, we'll be about 3 billion kilometers at this growth rate. And that's the distance to Uranus. I don't know where we go after that from the outside the solar system, but you've got the picture. A simple calculation to make, and that will be the final punchline. 160 million fiber kilometers in 1 year, that's 5,000 meters per second, and that's 15 times the speed of sound. That is, annually, the fiber is produced at 15 times the speed of sound. So that gives you an idea of how much we are going to be connected with fibers next year, next 10 years, next 1,000 years. And that's, on that note, I thank you very much for your attention.